welcome to GYV Talks. And before we start, let's uh, let's just give a brief introduction to about ma'am. So, ma'am started her professional career as a software engineer in Philips Semiconductors, Bangalore, India. Matrimony took her to Redmond, USA, where she worked for Microsoft for 6 years. Once back in India, she was instrumental in setting up online presence for Cutting Edge Bangalore and growing business across several verticals. Ma'am has two beautiful kids and a loving and supporting husband. She believes her experience across the many different job roles, companies, and countries gives her the depth and breadth of someone who can understand and resonate with people better. It makes her a fantastic success coach, having been on the corporate ladder herself and an empathetic relationship coach who is able to work her knowledge while keeping the fabric of the relationship intact. She is a relationship and happiness coach and a psychologist and a multidisciplinary psychotherapist who uses techniques like cognitive behavioral therapy, neuro linguistic programming, mindfulness, life coaching, and counseling to customize a solution for each of her clients to get the results she does. Ma'am is also involved in community activities and provides free service and content to the community. And now we'll start with the questions. Aditi, you can proceed.
Ma'am, you have had a successful corporate life both in India and the US. What propelled you to move on with the transition from the corporate life to that of a success coach and a relationship coach?
Hi Aditi. First of all, I think greetings are in order. I will answer this question two-part, right? Like every question. So the first part of this question is core competency and skill. When I took the decision to digress into a new career, it obviously meant that I had the core competency and skill to begin with. And a testament to that was just the fact that I was a mentor to so many people forever and ever. You know, like how some people are just, wells, where people just come and talk to you and you always give them advice. And somehow there was, I guess I had a knack of putting people ahead of me no matter what. So that comes to core competency and skill, which also meant that it aligned with who I am as a person, which is why making the switch was easy. And that's a very important part when you make a decision like that. The second is, why leave the success and blitz of a corporate life where there's no success in today's metric of success, right? Why would you leave that and start something from scratch where you're unknown? It's like, the reason for that is I've had my share of downs where I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia when I had my first child. So I went to a lot of doctors. They gave me a lot of steroids and I was in la la land for like a year and a half. God knows doing what. And then second pregnancy happened. And then my second pregnancy was really bad, where every month my doctor told me ki, you won't have your baby. Your baby's not going to survive. And we never knew what, honestly. And then after that, it took many years for me to figure out, for the doctors to figure out that I had something called as lupus. Now, why is this relevant? This is relevant because I have been on the receiving end where I have felt anxiety, depression, stress, helpless, hopeless, and sad, question my own self-worth. Because when you're running pillar to post and no one is guiding you or helping you, it's not a healthy mind or state of mind to be in. And the only solution that they gave me was medicines and medicines and medicines. So I looked at spirituality. I know this answer is long, but if that you're asking the question, that is my journey, right? I'm sorry, but see, so I am a Sikh, okay, and we believe in Kirat Kar. And when I took to spirituality, when I started reading, it gave me the strength to now manage my life. Now, when you look at me, you won't even come to know that I have an ailment, which is debilitating. You can't tell, right? And that really, it's the power of being self-aware. It's the power of mentoring. It's the power of understanding yourself, which is what I am doing. And because I was able to figure it out, and because I was so influenced by the Kirat Kar, which Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, I knew I had to do it. There was no doubt in my mind where it's irrespective of, it's not commercials anymore. There's a higher calling. So I am doing it for that. My motivation is very clear. So if I can help myself, I can help others. Makes sense, right?
Exactly.
That's really inspiring and
Yeah.
really awesome. And
Yeah.
this was really straight from the heart, getting to know, because whenever people go to public profiles and they don't get to know the story that is behind the curtain, what has propelled them, and this was really good and important for the world to know that. So
Thank you.
now we know your journey was transformed you to the person you are now. You'd like to know
Thank
now
you.
how you set up your goals and what is success for you now.
It is very funny that you asked me about success because just last week, a few days ago, I made a video about success on my YouTube channel, right? So the timing is just perfect. See, so success to me has multiple meanings depending upon the context, honestly, right? I do not want to mislead my clients where they say ki, uh, that personal success mein metric doesn't matter. It is rubbish. And I don't want to do the opposite also, which says कि आप सिर्फ पैसे फेम के पीछे भागो and personal success is irrelevant. That is also rubbish. So this is where coaching and the gurus and I feel the industry is going wrong because we are brainwashing, especially the youth, to believe something that is not balanced, right? So coming to the question, what is success? Success personally, right? I said I will define it in different contexts, right? So the first context is personal, which is most important, which is what causes depression, anxiety, stress, and all of that. In a personal context, success is basically a measurement of how far you have come from where you started, from the point of your origin. It is essentially the delta, which means that if I am coming from poor family, then for me, success could just be getting a job which is 10,000. That's a great success, right? But if my parents are IT professionals, then for me, success is to earn much more, right? And success is not just about metrics. It's not about a monetary tag or a value that you carry on yourself. Success is unique and different for each person. I think the day we realize this as a society, we will be much more balanced and secure with who we are. The biggest mistake we do is we judge people on success based on how successful you are. So I become the yardstick for your success. Talk to your fathers. I am so sorry for doing that for all the dads, but somewhere the pens go wrong, right? Your dad will always measure you with how successful he was. Always, right? Ki main to itna kamata tha. Why, I mean, I earned so much. Why don't you do that? There is where we are going wrong as a community. But I am also a success coach. So if I am training people to be successful in a corporate world, to be successful at a sport, then my metric for success is something which is tangible, right? Here also it is tangible. But the point is, success, the biggest takeaway is that success is one, unique. Two, success cannot be compared. Three, success is really the delta. The success is not the same for every person, right? For Ambani, it is to become a crorepati or a billionaire, or right? But for me, it is just running my soul therapy, essentially. So this gives you the contrast of what success is. Coming to how do you set goals? If I have to ask you again as a success coach, if I have to guide you on how you need to set goals and how I do it, please follow the acronym SMART. And we can get into more details regarding that. But just on the face of it, I would suggest you to do this. When you make a goals, Make sure first it is specific. S is specific. A, it is actionable, which means that it is in a small chunk where you can act upon it. It should not be large, because the moment it becomes large, the psychology says there's a Parkinson's law. Again, I'm getting into too much of detail, which kicks in and which doesn't allow us to handle that chunk. So that is S and M. Oh, M is measurable. So SMART, a specific goal, a measurable goal, an actionable goal. R is something that is relatable, something that is relevant. And T is, which is time bound. That is very, very important, right? When we say relatable, it means it needs to be realistic, right? So if I said, for example, oh, I want to become Miss India tomorrow. It's not a realistic goal, right? I want to become Ambani tomorrow, and I'm going to work very hard. It doesn't happen. I want to become PV Sindhu tomorrow, and I don't even know ABC of badminton. I'm just giving you an example. So, so we have to balance is key in life. It's a simple word, but it's very difficult. I know. Yeah.
True.
I completely agree
Aditi,
with you. I mean, everyone's life journey is completely different from the other person, and it cannot have the same parameter, as you said. So, I'd like to ask the next question to you, and it says, uh, in India as well as around the globe, we find there's a lot of stigma associated with mental health. I mean, depression or anxiety is not even considered a sickness. So, I
Yes.
want to ask this very important question to you. How can the stigma around mental health be warded off?
If I could do magic, I would just make it happen, but I can't. I would start the answer by saying that let's change the narrative, right? The problem in India is our narrative says that uh, to be mentally ill is to be weak, right? And to be weak is to be a loser. To be a loser is to be unacceptable. And to be unacceptable in society is a stigma that makes your life not worth living. That is so sad. Do you see that chain of thought that we have in our society? The biggest problem for me, right, and what I'm going to say might come as a shocker to you, but I will explain myself, so just have patience. I think the biggest problem is that, or if me personally, if I have to get rid of the stigma, I would work associating the holy grail, which is positive thinking. We feel that positive thinking is the solution for mental health. That if you think positive, then you're mentally stable, you're not depressed, you suddenly have the magic powers to deal with stress, you're not anxious. It is sad, and it is a lack of knowledge that we think that positive thinking is it's one mold that all the mental problems fit into. It doesn't work like that. I am not agnostic to positive thinking. My problem is that we don't understand positive thinking. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're a mom, okay? Your child comes and tells you, hey mama, I'm getting bullied at school. What do I do? What will the parents say? The mom says, ki, no, bacha, be strong. You need to be strong. Small boys should not get scared. Be positive. Think well. Be strong in your head. When you are talking to your child like that, what you're not realizing is you are also bullying an already bullied child into thinking and feeling positive when really he's not positive at all.
not acknowledging the current state.
Yeah, exactly. And let me give you a simple perspective, right? Imagine you have a cup. समझो 200 ml. I'm sorry, I keep going to Hindi. You have a 200 ml cup, okay? And you have bitter medicine in it. And I mean actually bitter medicine. Now, if you drink it, it's going to be bitter. It won't be nice. Now, imagine you want to put water in that 200 ml cup, which is completely full. I want you to answer this. Can it dilute the bitter medicine?
Mhm.
It can't, because the cup is already full. If my bitter medicine is up till the level and I'm putting water, it'll dilute it very, very little, but most of it is just going to overflow. है ना? It
True.
has to overflow. This is the mistake that we as a society are doing. Instead of acknowledging and expressing the bitterness that is there within us. See, we are all bitter, which is why we are human. है ना? And anyone who tells you कि I am antaryami, I'm forever happy, it doesn't exist. It does not exist. Okay, and I'm telling you from a profession, it's not possible unless you are depressed, because one thing of depression is also that you are always happy, right? Because anyone who is happy all the time has a neurological defect. But coming back to your answer, that uh, when we are looking at positive thoughts, when we are reading positive thoughts, it is like that little bit of water that is flowing in us, where it touches the surface, but then it falls off. So we share all these positive quotes and we feel so good. You know why? It gives us a kick. It gives us an instant gratification. It does nothing for our heart. The heart, which is full of bitterness, the mind, which is dealing with those demons, it doesn't do anything, because we are not emptying our cup. Till we don't empty our cup, from where are we going to fill it with the positivity and balance and tips and techniques on how to live our life? So
Indeed.
all these, I am so upset sometimes, with these coaches where they bombard you ki nahi, positive, socho, positive, positive. What is the use, right? You understand, be positive, but positivity is a second step. First step is you understand who you are. Once you understand who you are, all right, then the magic starts happening. It is so simple. It is magical. The day you understand yourself, hazar doors will open, and suddenly you feel ki the universe is working towards you.
Uh, Now, given the intense situation of stress amongst youth these days, owing to the COVID pandemic, like because of the COVID, we've seen job losses, career or family related pressure. They have been like hiking and advancing to another level altogether. So, how would you advise youth in these times of distress to keep their like peace of mind? How can they maintain peace of mind?
Okay. Um, I would answer this question giving you a little bit of context. See, I just told you about Gyan giving, but it looks like I am guilty of also giving Gyan. But I'm giving Gyan just for context so that you understand, right?
Yes.
That's the whole idea. Um, the the reason why people get stressed, the reason when for a disturbance to happen, essentially is when expectations are not met. Okay, it's as simple as that. The root cause of any disturbance in your life is when expectations go awry. So the question is, now when you're living in a house, in a lockdown situation, the first thing that we need to keep in mind is the generations at home, which means that there were three generations. Let's say there's a grandmom at home, a mother at home, and a youth at home. The grandmom comes from a generation where her or his, the granddad, their belief system just said that let's provide food on the table. It was about just providing food on the table. That was key and critical for them. The second generation, which is the sandwich generation, which is me, right? Probably you guys are young, but me, I'm the sandwich generation. The sandwich generation started off saying that, okay, we need to provide food on the table, but because our parents had worked and our basic physiological need was met of food, we also started focusing on quality of life. So we discovered the word passion. The generation before me did not know what passion was. For them, it was what will pay me, what will get my food for the table. But we discovered passion, right? And this is where our parenting split up. Now the youth today is all about purpose. We have to understand that. Again, I don't want to generalize it, because, and that will be the biggest mistake that I do as a psychotherapist, because generalizations don't exist. Like I said, DNA unique, we're all unique, remember? But for the purpose of the interview, for the purpose of understanding, uh, the generation today is, two words drive them: passion and purpose. And when they are passion and purpose driven, they want to do something that has a higher impact. And when they are thinking in that tangent, and they are in a lockdown situation where the two, three generations are thinking of different things, can you imagine the disturbance and how they're going to rub against each other? The kind of friction it's going to cause? The reason I have said this is so that whoever is listening to this, whether it's the parent or the grandparent or the child, first recognizes it. Because only when we recognize can we grow. It's as simple as that. Recognition is key, right? When we ignore, then we are stepping back or we are pushing it. One. Second, your question also was, how do they just deal with the situation? I'll give you just 3 steps, okay? First is gratitude, generosity, and discipline. What does that mean? Generosity, again, I'm talking about psychology here. When we are generous as a person, it releases the good hormones. And generous does not mean giving your bike away to someone, right? It just means that if there is a beggar on the road or you're going somewhere, buy that 10 rupees ka packet. You are not rich, you don't have money, buy even that 5 rupees ka glucose packet. Chalega. Just give that. The moment you start sharing what you have, whatever it is, even knowledge, you become better as a person. The good hormones release within you, and when the good chemicals release within you, the brain starts getting rewired, and we become better equipped to handle stress. That was the first thing. Second thing was gratitude. Practice gratitude. I can't tell you how important that is. And I don't mean ki roz jaake Hanuman Chalisa karo. That's not what I mean, right? If you're doing that, awesome, great. I mean, spirituality is not, I mean, I'm spiritual, but I cannot preach spirituality for obvious reasons. What I'm asking you to do is be grateful for the tiny things. Let's say mom made a very yummy vegetable curry today. Just feel grateful. Mom made this yummy today. Kitna tasty tha. Be happy about that. Or you're wearing a shirt and you're looking in the mirror and you're looking so smart. So just admire yourself. Arey, kitna smart dikh raha hu main. Small things. Or you got a call from your friend who just called to say, hey babe, how are you doing? Feel happy. Oh, so sweet of her to call. Do you get that? Be grateful for the small things. Because when we say in our mind, thank you for doing that, again, we are rewiring, re-engineering who we are. Third thing was discipline. I know it's a word that the youth doesn't like to listen to, but discipline is very important. And I don't mean discipline, military discipline, get up at 6 baje, then do your running and do all of that. That's not what I'm talking about. Discipline in this context is again two-part. One, manage your expectation. So be strong enough to manage your expectation. What does that mean? Accept the fact that this situation that we are in is going to be long term. We are in for the long haul. So don't tell yourself कि in 1 week, in 1 month, सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा. Then I will go freaking out with my friends again, and I'm going to go dancing. I'm going to go pumping. I'm going to go whatever I do, right? It's not happening. So reset your expectation, and it takes discipline to do that. Second, connections. Very, very important. Stay connected with your friends. Don't have an attitude and don't sulk. Have you heard? I don't know if you guys heard. There was an Airtel ad that said, "Har ek friend zaruri hota hai." Yeah. Right? And I tell that to all my clients. It is so true. And there is so much of research that was done behind that. Literally, har ek friend zaruri hota.
So, okay. So, can you give us a sneak peek into the soul therapy?
Sure. There is no right or wrong answer to what I'm going to tell you, okay? This is my understanding of how I approach therapy as a whole and the human body as a whole. So I have split it up into 3 three parts, where the first part is your body, your physical being. And the physical being responds to stimuli for the purpose of understanding. Then there is the second part, which is our soul. What does the soul have? The soul has three. The first part is the mind, the brain, right? What is in the brain? According to me, and again, I'm simplifying it so that people understand, right? And when I say according to me, it is just my way of simplifying things to give you an analogy so that you're able to understand, interpret, assimilate, and implement. For me, that is very important. Just giving you something for gyan for the purpose of talking and which makes me look very intelligent is futile, and that's not why I am doing this. So the mind has two people sitting on it, right? The angel and the devil. So again, so the soul has the mind, the free will, and your emotions. The mind is the angel and the devil. They are two sides to all of us. Free will is the decision. It is our decision who we choose to listen. Are we listening to the angel or are we listening to the devil? Because there is always right or wrong perspectives in our mind. And no matter whoever tells you, yaar, maine socha hi nahi tha, I didn't know that, they might be ignorant to it, but everyone has those sides. Third is emotions. The emotions that we subscribe to, the emotions that we think, is where the energy will flow, is how we will feel. And these three together comprise the soul of a person. The third part is the spirit. Spirit for me is, the your higher level, right? The part that keeps you liberated. So what does the spirit have? The spirit has your identity, and that is very important. Who you are in your core, not the mask that you wear when you go to work, not the mask that you wear on social media, but really who you are, that self-awareness that I was talking about earlier. The second part to the spirit is values, and the third is desires. Value is what drives you, what is your motivation, what makes you get up in the morning, what makes you go to work, your values. Third is desire. What is your desire? Is your desire to have name? Is your desire to have a lots of money? Is your desire to be a helpful person? But when we combine and think of these three tangents, dealing with these three tangents and building these three tangents up is really what soul therapy is about. And it comprises of building a lot of tools, techniques, self-awareness, and thinking on how to handle your body, your soul, and your spirit. Does that make sense?
It does. So,
Thank you.
I remember you were talking about gratitude, right, and generosity.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and I have one final question for you, and the question is, why is it so important to have a life coach?
Uh, okay. So I'm going to answer the question, but it's not because I'm selling myself. I'm just putting a disclaimer there. Okay.
Get it?
Yes, yeah. And of course, I think it's important, which is why I'm doing it also, right? See, the thing is, it's very important, and this is what I keep talking about in my Facebook page, that being better is better than feeling better. When you are listening to those positive quotes, reading those positive things, it's giving you an instant gratification. It is not something that is staying with you. When you come in contact with a life coach, it is about learning things about you. It is going about a journey, your journey, which is where you are the driver, where your life coach is just a mentor or a guide or a help. And we are trying to identify the blueprint that works for you, which means that you remember we spoke about the soul and the spirit and the body. So we're identifying the spiritual, the part of you which is the spirit, which is what are your identity, what are your values, what is your desire, what is there in your mind, what drives you. As long as there is a penchant for learning, I think we should and always try and push ourselves to evolve. And as long as we want to evolve and become better, uh, that is where a life coach comes into play, right? Because they are helping you to subscribe to the right thoughts. They're helping you subscribe to the right emotions. They are building a sense of self-worth and confidence in you. They are creating a strong moral compass that will stay with you for the rest of your life. They are essentially, by virtue of doing all of that, making you a stronger person, right? There is this quotation which I really like, which says that learning is stronger than knowledge. Okay, and my power is looking. Learning is stronger than knowledge, and perception is stronger than reality. So, unfortunately, because that is true, that is the reason why we need coaches. Because sometimes in life, we are unable to discriminate perception from fact. We are unable to identify who really is authentic to us and who really is in it to just take something from you and move on, right? And so knowledge, perception. And if someone can teach you how to utilize both of them in a way that works for you, that builds you up, that helps you subscribe to the right mentality and thoughts and processes, that's what you need, right? It's like your angel. But one thing I would like to tell you as a disclaimer, any coach that you go to, dear friends, dear community, dear viewer, dear audience, whoever is listening to this, should have an end line, right? There should be a end date to it. Think about it. If that person is doing their job well, you have to get cured. The mistake that happens, and I know I should not be saying that because I'm a counselor, but I am doing this for a different reason. The mistake that happens is that the counselor and the patient gets married to each other for years and years and years. And the patient doesn't even think, if the counselor is doing the job, then why am I going to the counselor for so many years? Then I obviously am not getting better. It's logical, right? So whoever you approach, again, depending upon the situation you have, right? And I don't misconstrue the end date. You have an end, there has to be an end date, but there is also maintenance. Like if you are someone who's troubled, go ahead, meet your therapist, especially if you develop a good rapport. If your therapist can become your mentor, your life mentor, what else do you want? If you can establish that kind of trust, faith, and you know that person is going to war for you, that is the job of a coach. They are supposed to go to war for you. We are fighting your battle, right? We are taking all the pain and everything to make sure that you succeed. So there is definitely a noble and higher calling. Anyone who does anything other than this, you need to ask yourself that whether what you're doing is good for you, is it actually benefiting you, or is it benefiting someone else? I'm going to get kicked for saying this, but that's okay.
But it's the truth.
It's really true.
It is.
Because coaches, teachers, people in these novel professions, they do a very thankless job, but people really don't show them a proper gratitude that is due. Because people in these professions, these tasks, don't they don't demand respect, they command respect, and that's really necessary.
Yes, that's the whole idea, right? Respect needs to be earned. It's not demanded. When you demand it, it's there today, but it's going to go tomorrow.
By the virtue of the work that people in these professions do, they command that respect from people at large, people who are consulting them, people who are well wishers of the people who are consulting them, and so on. Because these people are doing it for very selfless reasons. So that's a really need of ours that should be done by the people.
Yes, agreed.
And
thank you,
ma'am.
I will take that as a compliment.
Thank you, ma'am, for the entire conversation. It was really a pleasure to have you on GYV Talks, and thank you so much for your benign presence. And we hope that this conversation is beneficial for the youth. It
I
helps
hope
them
so too.
to reach their goals and connect to their higher calling. And thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. And like, we hope that we can do this
Again.
sometime again really soon.
Thank you so
Sure,
It's
much.
sure.
great.
Why not? Definitely. All right. Take care. Bye bye. Thank you so much, both of you. All the best to
Thank
each
you.
of you. Go
Thank
fulfill
you.
your dreams. Go live your life. Yeah. Be good. Be naughty, but be good. That's important. The balance, like I say, that's
Yes,
important.
True.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Take care now. Sure.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.